Every time you load a web page, the server sends your browser a 3-digit number. You have probably seen some of them, like 404, maybe 500, if you have been poking around dev tools. But you actually know what they mean and why they exist? Hey, I'm Mrs.Compile, and today we are breaking down every HTTP status code you will actually encounter. What they mean, when to use which, and the one that's genuinely April Fool's joke that somehow never got removed. So, let's get into it. Every time your browsers talk to a server, the server responds with a 3-digit number. You have probably seen them, like status code 200, or maybe 404, or 500, probably 503 if you have tried loading a university portal on a results day. Most people treat this as a noise, error messages, annoying computer things. But they are not. They are structured communication. The server is telling you exactly what happened in a code that once you know it, you can read at a glance. There are 5 families, one for each situation. By the end of this video, you'll never be confused by a status code again, and you will be slightly smug about it at work. Which honestly is the point. Status code 100 means information. The server is acknowledging your request and telling you to hold on. 100 means continue. You send the first part of a large request and the server is saying it's received it. Carry on. These are background codes. You won't see them in your browser. They exist in the HTTP layer below what's visible. Useful if you are building something that sends chunked data. Otherwise, not something you will encounter day to day. Moving on. 200 means success. These are the codes you want. 200 means OK. The standard success response. Request received. Processed. Response delivered. It is worth nothing that 200 doesn't mean the content is good. It means the transaction completed successfully. You can serve an empty page with a 200. You can serve incorrect data with a 200. The status code only tells you about the HTTP transaction, not the content. Now, 201 means created. Returned after a post request that created a new resource. You submit a form, or created a user account, or uploaded a file. The server made the thing you asked for. The response body typically contains the new resource, or at minimum, its location via location header. 204 means no content. Success, but there is nothing to return. Delete requests return this frequently. You deleted the resource. It's gone. There is nothing to send back. 204 is clean, correct, no body, no padding. If an API returns 200 with an empty body, where 204 would be correct, that's a minor code smell. Not wrong, but imprecise. 206 means partially content. You requested a range of data. Video streaming uses this constantly. When Netflix sends you the next 30 seconds of a film, it doesn't send the whole file. It sends a range. The response is 206. Range delivered. This is also how download managers support pause and resume. 300 means redirection. The resource isn't here, but the server knows where it is, and it's telling you. 301 means moved permanently. The resource has a new URL. Update your records, your browser, any CDN caching this URL, any SEO crawler. They should all update to the new address. The old URL is done. That's what permanent means. 302 means found. Temporarily redirect. The resource is somewhere else right now, but this URL remains valid. Keep using the original. This move is not permanent. The distinction between 301 and 302 matters more than the most people realize. Search engines pass SEO links equity through 301 redirects. They don't through 302. Using the wrong one is a real mistake with real consequences. 304 means not modified. The client already has this resource cached. The server checked the E tag or last modified header you sent, compared it to its own, and confirmed. Nothing changed. Use your cached version. This is the code that makes caching work properly. When 304 fires, nobody is transmitted at all, just headers. Faster, cheaper, more efficient. 304 is a good engineering in a status code. 400 means client errors. The problem is on your side. 400 means bad request. The server can't parse what you sent. Malformed JSON, invalid parameters, a request body that doesn't match the expected schema. The server isn't even getting to the logic. It can't understand the input. This is what you see when you call an API incorrectly. 401 means unauthorized, a misleading name actually. It doesn't mean you are not allowed. It means you haven't authenticated yet. The server doesn't know who you are. Send credentials, then it will decide. 403 means forbidden. The server knows exactly who you are, and you don't have access. Authentication succeeded. Authorization failed. The distinction between 401 and 403 is authentication versus authorization. Two different problems, two different solutions. One means prove who you are. The other means we know who you are and know. 404 means not found. The most famous HTTP status code in existence. The resource doesn't exist at this URL. It may never have existed. It may have been deleted. The server isn't telling you which. It just can't find it. 404 became cultural before most people knew what HTTP was. Companies started customizing their 404 pages in the 2000s, adding jokes, illustrations, games. GitHub, Spotify, MailChimp all have famous 404 pages. A 3-digit error code involved into a UX design consideration. The internet is interesting. Now, 418. I'm a teapot. I need you to understand that this is real. In April 1998, RFC 2324 was published. The Hypertext Coffee Pot Control Protocol. An April Fool's joke. As in, a protocol for controlling an imaginary internet-connected coffee pot. Part of it specified that if a client asks a teapot to brew coffee, something a teapot physically cannot do, the teapot should return 418, I'm a teapot. This was never removed from the official standard. Google returned 418 from google.com/teapot. Some developers use it as a deliberate, this endpoint is a joke. The people who built the internet had a sense of humor and embedded it permanently into the protocol. I find this remarkable. 429 means too many requests. Rate limiting. You have exceeded the allowed request frequency. The server includes a retry after header telling you when to try again. This is standard API behavior. Design your client to handle it. If you are hitting 429s in production, you need back-off logic. 500. Server errors. The server received your request, understood it, and then failed to handle it correctly. 500 means internal server error. Something went wrong inside the server. The catch-all, the dustbin code, an unhandled exception, a logic error, a null pointer. The server processed your request and broke. If you are seeing 500 in production, check your logs. Something is throwing an exception somewhere. The status code tells you where the problem is, but not what the problem is. That's what logs are for. 502 means bad gateway. Your server received a bad response from an upstream server. Load balancer couldn't reach the application server. Nginx proxy couldn't reach Node.js. The proxy layer is working. The thing behind it isn't. 503 means service unavailable. The server is up but can't handle requests. Maintenance window. Overloaded. Out of resources. Often temporary. Includes a retry after headers when it's scheduled maintenance. 504 means gateway timeout. The upstream server looked too long to respond. The proxy waited. The timeout expired. The proxy gave up. Different from 502. 502 is a bad response. 504 is no response. The distinction matters when you are debugging. A note on handling 500 errors in production. Implement exponential backoff with jitter. Retry after 1 second. Then 2. Then 4. Then 8. With randomization. Hammering a struggling server with retries makes it worse. Be a considerate client. Now, I will give you the mental model in 1 sentence per family. 100 means the server is thinking, wait. 200 means it worked. Here's what you asked for. 300 means try this other address instead. 400 means your request has a problem. Fix it. 500 means the server has a problem. It's not you. Specific one worth memorizing. 200 means success. 201 means created. 204 means success, nothing to return. 301 means permanent redirect. 304 means use your cache. 400 means bad request. 401 means authenticate fast. 403 means you don't have access. 404 means doesn't exist. 429 means slow down. 500 means server error. 502 means bad upstream. 503 means unavailable. And 504 means timeout. And that's HTTP status codes sorted. If this helped, like and subscribe. I post every week, and next up is HTTP methods. Get, post, put, delete, patch, which is where this actually gets interesting. I'm Mrs.Compile, and I'll see you in the next one.